Hello fellow haters of the blue, and welcome to my channel and welcome to a review on the much awaited model color range by Vallejo. I've been waiting for a long time to make this video, not necessarily because of model color, but because of game color. Let me explain. Since I got the new game color range, I thought it was super interesting, but I always thought the color selection was way too small to be something I could recommend to people. Not everyone wants to color mix all the time. When I heard that model color was also going to be revamped and that game color was essentially a soft launch for the new formulation, I knew I had to wait and review both at the same time. These two ranges are meant to be used at the same time. They're meant to be symbiotic, so you can't really review one without reviewing the other. So with that in mind, let's review Vallejo's offerings for the miniature painting world, the only real way you can do it, painting a miniature from start to finish. But before we move on, let me talk to you about today's video sponsor, MINDWORK STUDIO. And for once, please watch this ad, you are not going to regret it. Of all the sponsors I get, the ones I'm most proud of and enjoy the most doing are always hobby colleagues. And oh boy, do I love MINDWORK STUDIO. MINDWORK STUDIO is possibly my favorite miniature manufacturer and one of the most interesting and innovative large-scale and mass producers in the world. They are better known for taking amazing art from some of the best illustrators in the world like Brom, Frazetta and many more, and making amazing miniatures out of their art. They are here in my channel to present to you their latest Kickstarter, The Art of Brom, celebrating the incredible work of one of the most influential artists of our time. Apart from the absolutely incredible and really high quality resin miniatures, they are also releasing something new, paints. With this Kickstarter, they are introducing 30 new and revolutionary acrylic paints. You can think of these paints as a hybrid paint between fine art paints and modeling paints. They of course are ideal for blending, glazing, wet blending and all techniques, but one of the most incredible features to me is that they do not break down when they are left on a wet palette. They last a really long time and are very stable. They are made with the highest quality pigments, and a really cool thing is they feature 8 paints specifically designed by Brom to match his favorite and most used colors, making it super easy to recreate his incredible art on your miniatures. The set is rounded up with the 3 primaries and black and white, so you literally don't need anything else in order to start painting the Kickstarter miniatures. Please do yourself a favor and check out the link in the description to the Kickstarter that's launching on May 31st. You won't regret it. Disclaimer time. These paints were sent to me for free, both game and model color. Also, full disclosure before we start, I've previously worked with both Vallejo and Amomic in different projects. This does not affect my own criteria, but it's something you need to know. And now, let's get cracking. I'm going to paint this lovely miniature of this witch hunter, and the first step, as with always, is going to be the face. I'm going to paint the face using an extremely classic combination of paints. This will be black red for my shadows, beige red for my midtones, and pale sand for my highlights. And before we move on, I just want to say that I really like the model color / color, or maybe just better said, the new Vallejo droppers. I really think they are top tier droppers, one of the best out in the market. They come pre-sealed, let me show that to you. So when you open them, there you go, they come sealed, so you know they are fresh and not used. They are completely transparent instead of whitish plastic, which means you can see the color exactly as you're going to get it. They are not flimsy, they are like nice to squeeze out. Yes, you can actually get a little bit of the color seeping out of the top. That happens with all droppers, and if that bothers you, just know that it can happen. As with all of the modern Vallejo lines, they come with a BSL system, which means base shadow light system. That means that for all the colors you will have one shadow and one highlight on the paint rack right next to them, so they are easy to, highlight and shade if you're not sure But apart from the rack, you can get this super nice pamphlet with all of the colors here, all of the references. It's quite awesome. And it also comes with all of the BSL system combinations, so you don't have to even think of what colors to use for each instance. You have them all here, nicely laid out. The model color and game color paints don't really separate too much inside of the droppers themselves. It can happen with some colors, but it's very rare, so you won't have to shake them too much. I barely use my vortex mixer with them. I'm going to start with my base color. This is beige red. I'm just going to apply my beige red to the flesh face, which is the only flesh area of the model. For me, the base coating is absolutely magnificent, and they dry extremely matte. They do dry a little bit slower than most paints, so you have to be careful with that. Even over black, these colors cover very well. What they made sure is that all of the colors cover better than the old formulations. At least the same covering properties, and if possible, more, which is great. I'm going to start shading, and for that I'm going to use black red here, and I'm going to use it as a sort of a wash. I'm just going to thin it down and see how they behave as washes. So I'm going to apply my black red there, just like that. You could use express paints or contour paints if that's what you prefer, but because I can't, I have to use just model and game color. I'm just going to use this. Again, you have to be patient with these paints. They take quite a bit of time to dry. I might use black just to define everything better. Oh, why not use something like this? This is something new that I just saw. This is mahogany ink, and it's one of the two inks in the model color range. They have mahogany ink and this smoke ink that they used to make. That this is not new. This comes from the old one, which is this lovely color. I used to use that quite a lot. It's a beautiful tone. Let's see how the mahogany ink is. Really nice. I think I'm going to just use the black to define the inside of the color here. Maybe mix it with some of this mahogany ink. And I think I'm going to go straight into highlighting the flesh, just mixing this pale sand into the beige red. And I'm going to move on to pure pale sand just for the final highlights. Again, I really like how matte all of these colors are once they dry. Makes my job so much easier. I think I'm going to apply this and then try and do a wash. I want to test the washes from the game color range, so this feels like a good opportunity to do so. I'm going to mix somber gray with black to a very dark color. And for that transition there, where it joins, I'm going to try and do a wet blend, which it's quite easier than with other paints. Let's test the wash. This is black wash from game color. Let's just apply this and see how it dries. This is just a black wash, just like that. After the red, it's time to tackle the black, and grays and browns is where model color excels over game color. Where game color has very limited range of grays and browns, grays, browns, olives, drabs, all of those colors, you have any color you may desire. I'm going to use field blue and light green blue to highlight the leather. I'm going to do a thin edge highlight with this. The paints flow very nicely off the brush, which makes edge highlighting a real pleasure if you ask me. And I'm going to finish highlighting those black details using light green blue, and this will just be a very thin edge highlight. It's time to paint the cape, and I want to do a test of the washes over a very large surface because we previously tested them in very small confined, very small places, and that's not a good test really. So I'm going to do a layer on the cape and see how it behaves, if it dries well, if it goes where it should be, those kind of details because I'm intrigued by the washes, about how they behave and if they can be used as you would a wash for wargaming painting purposes. So a little bit of a weird effect with the washes. It's drying very weirdly, like it's pulling off from the surfaces and creating this very weird effects here. I don't like that at all. I want to see if the ink, which is different, behaves the same way. The ink is much more saturated, so we will have to thin it down. I'm just going to use water to do like a normal wash. There you go. And test it in this section here. The ink is behaving better than the wash. The wash is doing very weird things. Look at how it's beating up on the surface of the paint. Yeah, I really don't like that. So yeah, that's not going to go well in the ratings. I rebase coated, leaving some of the black that was left showing. I'm going to shade with more black now. Just normal acrylic black. The wash was a disaster. I'm going to quickly try and wet blend that. There you go, in the recess. I'm going to follow this progression, starting from leather brown, US field wrap, and barbarian skin from Game Color. Now I'm going to start mapping my highlights following the zenithal pattern of light, and you can see it there. That's exactly what I'm going to copy. This is just a quick sketch of what I want to do, but it's very useful to have it. I'm going to move into the next color, which is going to be US field wrap, as I just said before. And for this, I'm just going to go for a more heavy metal feel. And also going to weather with this, which I can use those scratches and stuff like that to, you know, do volumetric highlights with them. I recommend, if you want to paint realistic cloth, look at historical painters. And you will see like the most amazing painting cloths you will ever see, and learn from them. I'm going to call this done. I think it's as good as it's ever going to get, and I'm very, very happy with how that is looking. One thing that I think it's important to point out is that both the model color and game color can be a little bit unstable on the wet palette. You will see something like this where the paint and the medium starts to separate and split. It's not the end of the world. This doesn't mean your paints have gone wrong. It just means that they are split and you have to remix them. Funny enough, it doesn't happen when they are sitting in the bottles, it just happens when they are sitting in the wet palette. Like that, you have perfectly workable paint, like nothing happened. The miniature is now completely painted except for the metallics, and that's what we are going to test right now. So far the paints have done all that I want them to do. They have glazed very well. I can even wet blend with them, which is very weird for me to do because I never do it, but I could do it with them. I could glaze, I could stipple, I could edge highlight perfectly, and they have behaved fantastically well. I'm very happy with the results. And now it's time to see the metallics. There are two different ranges. We have the game color metallics as shown here, and we will see after this the model color metallics, and they are very different paints. For starters, these game color metallics are all based on the modeler paints, so they are a little bit hit and miss. I will go on to which ones I like and which ones I don't. In order of the paints shown here, the ones I do consider excellent, and I mean excellent with capital letters, are Silver, the best edge highlight silver paint ever made, Bright Bronze, Hammered Copper, and Teeny Tin. These four paints are absolutely magnificent, and I highly recommend them. I especially like Silver, as I said, and Teeny Tin. Teeny Tin is great. Such a lovely dark copper bronze color. It's so useful to have. and both the copper and the bright bronze are fantastic. If you want to see me using game color to paint this model, you have a video about that in my channel. Just look for it, I will have it linked in the top right corner and in the description. But you can see how incredibly shiny they are. They are fantastic paints, but because I've already used them, I'm not going to use them here in the video. What I'm going to concentrate in this video is the new model color metallics. I personally hated the old model color metallics, not even joking. I never used them. I thought they weren't very good at all. And Vallejo decided to refresh the range completely. These are not based off of anything. These are completely new formulation, new pigments, and they are supposed to be better in every single way. And that's what I'm going to test right now. I'm going to start with the gold on the model, and for this I'm going to use brass, which is a darker shade and exactly what I'm looking for. Just on my wet palette, you can see that these are very fluid and they don't seem to be, you know, as bad as most metallics usually are, which is thick and gloopy and disgusting. This feels more like scale 75 metallics, which is a good thing. Let's start by base coating all of the gold details. And for a gold, which are usually rubbish at covering, especially over white, this is doing a great job so far. So very happy to see that. Look at that, just one coat of thin down brass. Yeah, these are going to be just fine. And remember, this is over white, the worst case scenario here. That's the idea. And they are base coating like a dream. Very easy to use, very nice and flowy, and pretty good coverage overall. Probably I see a little bit less shine than the game color ones, which are ridiculously shiny. That's not necessarily bad, but if you like super shiny metallics, maybe use those to highlight these ones. I think I'm going to go with the gunmetal still. Again, they feel great out of the brush. And they cover very, very well. Yeah, that looks great. Look at that. Just one layer over white with a dark steel color. And it's looking great. Now, it's time to shade all of these metallic details. And for the gold, I'm going to use again mahogany ink, which I love so much. This is great. And I want that rich gold feel. We could also use probably smoke ink for like a more desaturated gold. And I'm just going to shade them using water. It does look like, you know, a straight up Gergant Affair mixed with Contrast Medium, my favorite shade for gold. So super happy with the look. To shade the black, I'm going to use Game Color Black ink that I'm actually going to mix with some of this gloss black to make it a little bit more glossy. Funny enough, this gloss black, I think I said before, but it actually splits in the bottle, but the other colors don't. So this is completely different formulation, obviously because it's gloss. So that I'm sure is going to affect the result. I'm going to mix a little bit of the gloss here to make it glossy, hopefully, and I'm just going to use it as a wash. Very nice. And for the final highlight, I'm going to use just silver. This is Game Color Silver, which is it's just amazing. Look at how much that shines. It's beautiful. So far, the normal acrylics have been good, but I am the most surprised by the metallic range, which is far better than what I was expecting. It's now time to paint the glow from the lamp and the OSL over the model. And these are the colors that I think I'm going to use. I have Toxic Yellow from Game Color, Deep Yellow from Model Color, Gold Yellow from Game Color, and Amaranth Red from Model Color. And the first step is going to be the lamp, and I'm going to start with the Deep Yellow, which you see is very transparent. That's what I want. we're going to play with this transparency. I'm going to turn it into a sort of a wash and wash all of these recesses out. And then I'm going to move to the golden yellow, which is very transparent. And again, transparent colors are not bad. There is a weird tendency lately to just make every color opaque, and I think it's a mistake. I personally think it's a big mistake. We should accept that some colors are transparent, and if you want vibrancy and intensity, you have to, understand that some pigments are transparent and just work with it. There is nothing bad with a pigment being transparent. And I know this is a very particular rant of mine, but that's what you're here for, I guess. You can see here the final miniature. Everything you see has been painted using either model or game color. And I think the result is absolutely amazing. I'm very proud of it. Let's talk about the paints, shall we? Vallejo is a giant in the miniature painting world. They were one of the first miniature paint brands in the market, and they've been a staple in most hobbyist palettes for decades. So when it comes to such a big change to their paints, it's normal people are cautious and worried about it. Let's hope I can dispel some of the doubts you might have. Before I get to the scoring, you need to understand that a review is always a biased opinion. What I want and what I value in paint might be different from what you value and are looking for, and there's nothing wrong with that. No matter how much praise anyone gives a range of paints, never, and I repeat, never buy a whole range of any brand. That's always a mistake. Get a couple colors, test them out, and see if they align with your style. So what I'm going to do is give the paints a score in different properties, and give a little explanation as to why. Finish. It must be an A for me, but be aware that the super flat finish might not be what you're looking for. They apply very smoothly, and this might be some of the best self-leveling paints in the market, but they might not be for everyone. Technical use. The slow drying time is exactly what I'm looking for in paints. I can wet blend with them, they are perfect for feathering, and they glaze like a dream without breaking apart. This must be an A for me, but depending on your style and what you're looking for, it might not be the same for you. Paint properties are always a compromise and you can't satisfy everyone. Metallics. The combination of model color and game color probably makes for one of the most versatile metallic paint ranges in the market today. You have a good coverage and smooth application in model color, with extreme shine and brightness in game color. Also, game color silver is to this day the best edge highlighting metallic paint ever made. It's a must-have in everyone's toolbox. I just wish they had a little bit more color selection in the specialty hues. Right now we only have that blue, which is amazing, but I would love to have a green, red, purple, It's a solid A- for me, and it will become an A if more colors are available. Washes and inks. I don't like the washes, they are inconsistent and can create very weird effects on large surfaces. If you're just using them for recess shading or small details, they are alright, but I can't give them anything more than a D. I do not recommend them. The inks, on the other hand, especially the two inks on the model color range, are fantastic. I personally have no issues with thinning them down and using them as a wash, but I know most people just want a ready-to-use product and won't understand or need inks. So despite the good review on the inks, I will keep the scores this for the video. But if you are like me and prefer inks to washes, note that the score of them alone would be a solid B. Color range. This is for sure the standout of the review. With both ranges combined, and you should combine them, you have 272 normal acrylics plus 19 metallics, and the color selection is perfect. You have deep and dark transparent paints, pure and saturated colors, nice covering paints. You have everything you will ever need, and then some. This is the clearest A+ I've ever seen. That makes a total score of an A-. To me, both model and game color paints are one of the best paints in the market today, and a solid choice for anyone looking for quality and variety. Of course, you might miss some of the colors that are gone, and you might even prefer the paints as they were before, and that's fine too. I personally think the new paints are as close to the gold standard in hobby paints as possible, and I think the Vallejo team did a fantastic job creating them. Thank you for watching this video, and don't forget that if you like my videos and want to help me make them, you can follow me on social media. You have the links to all my social media in the description below and in the pinned comment of this video. Share and like this video, but most importantly, there is Patreon and channel members. Patrons and members allow me to do all the cool videos that I want to make and to keep releasing videos for free here too. Perks include access to an amazing Discord community full of lovely people, access to many more exclusive painting videos, and private one-on-one online tutorings. Help me and join the list of the coolest persons in the planet, including Chris, Jamie Decat, Mathix, Wandering Paria, Steofine, Kevin Frank, Brand G, Peter McIlroy, Kingtown Go, TTSS Productions, Jay Hoover, Nicholas Acebar, Minis by Ape, Will Harris, Space Cat, Benji Lin, William Febri Albeo, Jessica Curtis, Emily Queen of Sloths, Nicholas Davis, Agon David, Pablo Cuesta, Benjamin Barbet, Tom Pausi, Pumpkin Hill, Chris Black, Jacob, Matthias Babiuk, Andrei Michensko, Aaron Miller, Jack Staines, Stefan Zimmerman, Andrew Walden, Tom, Dr. Mike, Martin Revero, Sheshwal, PGM, David Ridey, Matt Wallis, Course24, Robert Macmillan, Mark Carter, Chester Ross, Matt Griffiths, Akelaos, Tyler Hughes, Keith Gilroy, Oman Gaming, Spicy Joe, Mark Watson, Hamish Donald, Matthew Lang, Inigo Garcia, Stavros Stavros, Shinji Guo, Marregueira, Romain, Ars Miniatura, Just Rex, Joe Ofu, Dr. Cathaber, Angelos Alexos, Des, Ranier Horbach, Mark Valenkov, Felix Franke, Aaron Bernstein, Daniel Ramin, Bowlsy, Phil Wahlberg, Terry Denham, Plunge, Biome, Howard Holville, Stephanie All, Painting Peter, Stephen Rockford, Chris Broga, Roger Nilsson, Oscar Jonathan Tomberg, Minen Nguyen, Dan Marco Cristalios, Kevin Mian, Darcy Foran, Etius Maximus, Aaron Dell, Javi Mota, Eamon Patton, Adam Thaxton, Gareth Smith, Keller Anster, Mark Jarvis, Mark Atkinson, Fergal, Josh Simpson, Christoph Moret, G-Force, Dr. V, Bartolomeu Kehusa, Leonard Lindemann, Kirno Multher, Andrew Dyer, and Kevin Sulers. And as for me, I will catch you in the next one. Bye!